Hi, this is Mike Hanberger with Tricky Fast Studios. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use the templating feature in Cat Game Builder. By the end of this video, you should understand how to use templates to save time on building state machines and states. So let's start with a blank scene. And we'll go ahead and add a state machine. We'll call that the templated state machine. And we can go and add a state. In fact, let's add a second one. Okay, so now we have a state machine. It's not going to do anything useful. But we're going to use that state machine as a template. So let's add a second state machine. In this state machine, in order to use a template, you have to go up to the menu and click Show Template. And now this template field shows up. So if you put a state machine in that field, that will be the template with which this state machine will follow. So let's do that. So as you can see, we brought in both the states. And it's complaining that we haven't set an initial state. Let's set that to template state. Now, what if we go ahead and add some actions here? So we'll add a log action and a change state action. So we're going to add the log action and say debug 1. Change state will just change to our other state. Okay. So this is giving us an error or a warning right now. That's because we haven't set the initial state, but we actually don't even want this to run. So we can get rid of that warning, but we're going to tell it not to run on start because we don't want our templated state machine to run. Our new state machine, though, as you can see, has a couple of actions. Let's actually add another action under here. We'll add another debug action and say debug 2. All right. So as it stands, when we run, it should run this template state, print out debug 1, and then it should change states to template state 2, print out debug 2. Let's see what happens. There we go. Debug 1, debug 2. And if you look in the state machine, it's on state 2. If you notice, it actually instantiated those states when we ran. Normally, they're not there. They just show up in the UI. Okay, well, the next thing to do, that's how you would normally do a templated state machine. So what happens if we add a state in here? And we call that template state 2. So you notice that has the same name as this state. And there's no actions on it. Let's add another debug action. So we left off at debug 2, so we'll do debug 3. So what's this going to look like if we click on the state machine? Well, what should happen is this new template state 2 should override the other template state. So you can see it did change the order a bit because it always displays the local states before the templated ones. But we have template state 2, which has this debug 3 in it. And as you can see, that's different from this debug 2 in the other templated state. So when we run this, it should now print out debug 1, debug 3, which is what it does. Now, what if we wanted to actually have a templated state? So let's add a new state. Let's make sure that that's at the top level here. Normally, these templates would be in prefabs, but I'm not doing that just for the sake of speed here. So let's call this state template. Okay. And let's add another action in here. And we'll call that debug 4. So now all we need to do is add that somewhere. So we're going to add that. By the way, it's mad at us because this state's at the root level. It's not in a state machine. But we can ignore that for now. So we're going to add that as a template on our template state 2 inside of our new state machine. So in order to do that, we go up to the menu, we go show template on the state, and then we can just drag that in. And now all of a sudden we have this second log action for debug 4. So now what happens if we play? We should see debug 1, debug 3, and debug 4. And there you go. So you can also do the same thing with value holders. So where this might come in handy is if you have a set of values for, health or, strength or something like that are repeated across a whole bunch of different entities in your game. And maybe they're somewhat dynamic. So you could add a template to your value holder to hold that. So let's make a new actual empty object here. Put this at the top level. And we're going to add a value holder to that as well. And on this value holder, we're going to add an integer, a float, and a bool. How about that? So for our integer, we'll set it to be 10. We'll set our float to be 5.3. And then we'll set our bool to be true. Okay. So coming back to our state machine here that has the new value holder on it, we can go under the menu again and show template. And in the template, we can bring in this value holder. And all of a sudden, just like with the states and state machines, we're going to see these values. What we can do here is similar to how the states on a templated state machine work. If we go and we add another integer, it's going to be called integer value component. And suddenly it overrides the other one. So this time our value is 0. So let's come over here into our templated state. And instead of making this say that, we can say owner, and then we'll say integer value. So the value from the template is 10, but the value we brought in is 0. Let's change that to 5 instead. So now if we hit play, what we should see is debug 1, debug 3, and then 5. Let's give that a try. There we go. Debug 1, debug 3, debug 5. Now, if we didn't have this integer value component that's overriding the integer value component from our template, instead it'll do debug 1, debug 3, and then 10. So let's try. And there it is. Debug 1, debug 3, debug 10. So if you notice, just like with the states and the state machine, when this ran, it created copies of these. So if you were to modify this on one instance, it wouldn't affect the other instances. And that's about all there is for templates. You should now understand how to use templates on state machines, stages, and value holders, and how they interact and how you can override them. I hope you found this video informative and useful. Let us know in the comments if there are other tutorials you'd like to see. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media for the latest videos and other news. For more information on CAT and how it can help you prototype and build games faster, please visit trickyfast.com/cat. I'm Mike Handberger with TrickyFast Studios. Thanks for watching.